Okay guys, our next step is to take this diamond that we just made, which we're not finished with just yet, we'll come back to it, but the diamond that we just made, we're going to take this triangle and we're going to use it to make the mountain. So to show you what that looks like, we're going to take this part of the triangle and we're going to make these mountain shapes by flipping it upside down, curving it, and changing the size a little bit. Alright, so whoops, sorry about that. Okay, so going on back, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Remember, Control minus will zoom you out. And what we're going to do to make a copy, you can Control C to copy, you can go to Edit, Copy, or my favorite, hold down the Alt key and click and drag. And that will make a copy of this. Now, we're going to adjust the size of this just a little bit, so we need to go to inside the Properties panel, and if it's not open for you, go to Windows and go down to Properties. But it's inside the Properties panel, we're going to go to the Transform section, and we're going to make sure that the triangle is an equal-sided polygon. So right over here, we're going to click the More options, and right where it says Make Sides Equal, click that. Or, sorry, click the button, if I could do that right. And it's now taken ours to make sure we have all three equal sides, which is perfect. And we're going to click the Direct Select tool. So that would be this one right here. If you hover, it tells you also the shortcut is A. So we're going to click the Direct Select tool, and we're going to look at the widget on the top here. This widget allows us to curve instead of have straight edges. And as we drag the widget down, you'll see that it curves all three of the sides. And we're going to take it till about 0.11. There we go. Curve it just about to that size. Okay, now that we've gotten that, we're going to actually move this out of the way and we're going to continue to work on our diamond. So let's take this. This is one of our mountains. We're just going to move it over to the rest of the discarded things that we've made, and let's select this diamond here. So I'm going to select both of them so that they move together, and we move it over, and we're going to add some little stars, a little bling bling to the diamond over here. So what I want you to do is to either right click or click and hold, and we're going to choose the star tool. All right, we want our star to have 6 sides and we want it to be about 1 inch. So what we're going to do with this star tool selected, we're going to click and drag till we get about 1 inch, which is right there. Now don't release your mouse key yet. If you notice, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. If you hit the up arrow on your keyboard, it will give you one more side for the star. Now go ahead and release, which is perfect. We're going to change this just a little bit more. So we're going to, okay, I've released the mouse key, but I actually shouldn't have released it yet. So if you did the same thing, you can go ahead and just delete this star. And we're going to start again. For me, I'm going to start again. All right, so I'm going to click and drag, and I'm not going to release it yet. It's gotten 6 sides now because 6 sides is the last one that I had. So before I let go of this, I want to adjust it a little bit longer, and I want the edges of the star to be a little bit longer to about 1.5. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I'm at 1 inch here. And I haven't let go yet, so I'm still at 6 sides. What I'm going to do to adjust it a little bit is that I'm going to hit the Control key. And the Control key will keep the center the same, but allow the edges to get a little bit longer. And I'm going to take it to about 1.5 inches at this point. And it can be rough. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but close enough. And I'm still not letting go of the mouse, but I'm going to let go of the Control key. I'm now going to hold down the Shift key, which straightens up the star. And once the star's been straightened, I'll let go of the Shift key and let go of the mouse. There we go. So we now have a star, 6 sides, and we've got it just about right. I'm going to rotate that just to get my star just about right. Okay, I want to change the color of the star, so I want no stroke on it. It doesn't have a stroke, but I want the fill to be white. So I'm going to double click, and I could go to color swatches and choose a color swatch at the very top. White is good. Or if you double clicked on it and you got double click that again. You could pick all the way up in the corner and that will give you white too. All right, so I have white with no stroke, and I'm actually going to adjust the star down a little bit, and then we're going to make a second copy of it. So holding the corner of the star, I'm going to hold the shift key, and that's going to make sure that it doesn't distort on me. It keeps the same size, and I want about 0.4 inches. Going all the way down. Again, doesn't have to be exact, but as close as you can get is good. All right, that's good right there. I'm going to hold it, and now I'm going to take and I'm going to make a copy of this star. Well, actually not a copy. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So I could make a copy and then just change the size, or I could go to the star tool again, and I can create another star just a little bit smaller. And if you notice, it looks like that one disappeared, but if you use your selection tool and drag over both of them, you can see that they're still there. So now all we need to do is to take it and drag it onto our diamonds. And if you notice, it's kind of hard to tell because they have no stroke and the fill is white and the background is white. So in this case, I'm going to go up to View, and I'm going to do, if it lets me, Outline. Now everything's in outline, and that helps me just see where it is. And I'm going to take and drag this star right about here. And I want my second star to drag right about here. And then I'm going to go to View and Preview on CPU. And now that I've done that, I want to go ahead and select all of these items, and I'm going to group them together. So in order to group them together, I could do Control G to group, or I could go to Object Group. They now move as one, and if I Control 0 to zoom out, I'm going to go actually back a little bit more, and I moved it into the gray area. You can really see it right there. That's our finished star for our diamond shape that we're going to do. Okay, so we've got it down here, but you can also notice I still have this right here selected. Look over under Properties. Property gives you just an overview of everything, but down here you can see that you have the option Quick Actions, Ungroup, Isolate Group, Recolor, Save as a Symbol. It allows you to kind of quickly choose something. So I could have done Object Group, I could have done Control G. I also could have grouped it right here or ungrouped it right here. All right, so now that we have this diamond done, we're going to set it aside for now, and we're going to work on making some bones, and that's where we're going to use this. So let's just take this diamond shape and drag it over here for the moment. I'm going to move this bone right over here because I know that circle, I know we're going to need it. I'm going to click and select these. They haven't been grouped together yet, so I'll just quickly choose Group under Properties to group those together, and I'm going to move this up and over. I'm going to move our mountain shape over, and I'm going to group these two together as well. Oh, they're already grouped. I guess we did that already. I'm going to click it and move that up and over, so just to give us some space to work. All right, now we're going to create our bone shape. So to do the bone shape, we're going to use the line segment tool, which is right here. Now this is going to create what's called a path, and a path means that it's not a shape. It's not completely filled in. It's just a line, and that's okay. Paths, there's lots of things that you'll learn as we go on about paths. It's kind of similar to creating a live shape, meaning that once you create it, you can edit it until you're ready for it to be done. So let's click the line segment tool, and we're going to click and drag, and we want it to be about 1.5 inches long. Doesn't have to be exact, but when you get it right about there, that's good. And then what we're going to do is to do, if you notice, if you come up here to the corner, it gives you the option to rotate it. And we're going to rotate this till we get to an angle of 0 degrees. Perfect. All right, so now that we have this done, we're going to change the stroke weight to, let's do 15 points. You can type it in, or you can just click the up arrow. For some reason today I feel like clicking the up arrow. And if something is a path, you can't do a fill color because it's just a line. You can only fill something if it's a shape. So what I'm going to do is click on the outline, and I want to change the color. I want to make it a light gray again. So I want 0 all the way down, but in the K section I'm going to do 10, and that will give us if I click off of it and hit cancel, that will change this to a nice light gray color. Now there is a way to make a path a shape, and what you do is you go to Object. Well, first of all, let me make sure it's selected, that this is selected. and then you're going to go to Object, and you're going to go to Path. Let me find it. Where is it? There we go. I don't know why it takes me so long to find that. And then you're going to go Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. And it has now turned this from a path to a shape that's fillable, and if you notice over here, it changed it to no stroke and it made it a fill color instead. Now you might ask yourself, why would you do that instead of just drawing a rectangle? Well, you could, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I wanted to show you how you could turn a path into a fill color, and that's the way to do it. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and make our bones, and we're going to make at the end of the bone, we're going to make a total of 4 of these. So right now we have this, we want to rotate this path, and then we're going to add a couple more of these to complete the shape, and in the end it'll look like these guys right here, which are pretty cute if you ask me. Okay, so what you're going to do is selecting, well, first of all, let's select this, and then we're going to copy it 3 more times. So in order to do that, you could go to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste, or Control C, Control V, or my favorite, which is to hold down the Alt key and just drag and make copies. We now have 4 copies of, or 4 of these total, which is perfect because that's where we're going to align them. So what I want to do is to take these and go ahead and drag them to make them look just like this. I'm going to put 1 here, 1 here, and the same thing on this side over here. 1 here, 1 there. And then just click off of it, look at it, see if it looks good. Mine's a little crooked. I want to line those 2 up. I want to make sure that lines up. Make sure that they're even on the bottom. And again, your smart guides help you with that. See, right now it's telling me I'm perfectly lined up. If I do that, that is perfect. I want to group these together, so if I draw a marquee around them, I can just go to Group in the Quick Actions under the Property panel, or you could also do Control G, or you could go to Object Group. All right, now that I have these grouped, they move together as a group, and I want to rotate these to about 45 degrees. And then we're going to transform it so that we have an exact copy. So let's rotate it to 45 degrees. As close as you can get, slowly, slowly, that's good. Okay, and now we're going to go to Object, we're going to go to Transform, and then we're going to go to Reflect. Now I want to show you another thing. So you go Object, Transform, Reflect, or you can, if it's selected, you can right-click, Transform, and you can do Reflect. So there's several options to do everything you want to do in Illustrator. There's always like 3 or 4 ways to get somewhere. All right, so I'm going to click Reflect. And what we're going to do is we're going to select vertical, and then we're going to select copy. And it makes a copy of it, and we now have our X marks the spot for the bones. Let me find it on here. Cute, right? Yes, I'll take that as a yes. Okay, I'm going to move this. We have all of this, oh, we don't have that grouped together. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and select these 2 by drawing a marquee around them with the selection tool and click Group or Control G. And then we're just going to move this guy out of the way a little bit. We're getting crowded over here. We've got lots of things that we've drawn and we don't have them placed on our map yet, but let's just leave that over for now. We're going to use the Shaper tool. The Shaper tool is so much fun. It's right here. It allows you to draw things, and as long as you're not completely terrible in it, it will go ahead and make it what it thinks you're doing. So right now, let's just try this. I'm just going to try drawing a square. Bam. I definitely did not want it to be this. So you can tell that I didn't do a good job, but it's really fun because it tries to guess for you. So if this is not what I wanted, I just scribble on it and it gets rid of it. How cool is that? So if I was going to draw a triangle, wow, it makes a triangle. I can just scribble it. So what it does is it saves time if you right click from having, oh not there, sorry, if it's from having to go to the shapes and pick a shape every time. You're just on the Shaper tool and you want to draw a couple shapes really quickly, that's what you could do. So it's just fun. Let's try drawing like an ellipse. And it knew that I wanted to do an ellipse miraculously because that was not a very good drawing. And it made it that. If I didn't want it, again, I scribble it. And it gets rid of it. Take a few minutes and just play with that. That's really fun. And in the end, come back to drawing another ellipse. Good, I got it. Now we're gonna adjust it. So what I want you guys to do is we're gonna zoom in a little bit on this. So let's use the zoom tool this time and just drag a marquee around it, and it's gonna zoom us specifically right to that spot, which is what we want. And let's take a moment to go to File, Save, because I don't think we saved after the bones, and we wanna make sure we save often so that we don't lose anything. Okay, so we're gonna actually, still having this shaper tool selected, we're gonna adjust this shape. So we're gonna click on it, and you'll notice that it gives us a bounding box. And we want to turn this from an ellipse into a circle. So what I want you to do is to hold on to this corner right here, and we're gonna drag it till it gets to be a circle. When we get the crosshairs, whoop, there they are, that tells us we're at an exact even point, we're gonna let go so that we have a round circle. So not only can you draw shapes quickly with the shaper tool, you can also edit the shapes fairly quickly with the shaper tool as well if it didn't give you exactly what you want. The next thing that we're gonna do is to add or subtract from the original circle. We're gonna make our sailboat right here. We're gonna make this shape right here with what we've started here. All right, so let's move this over a little bit. I'm going to go to Selection Tool and just shift it over just a little bit. And let's go back to the Shaper tool. So now that we have this selected, we're going to hold down the Shift key and the Alt key, and we're going to drag to the left, making sure the shapes don't touch, and then we're going to release to make a copy. That didn't work. Let's try that again. Shift and Alt, drag, and make a copy. Sorry. Sometimes that happens. All right, so now that we have two of these, we're gonna be able to then combine them in the way that we want to start to make our shape. Okay, so we're gonna actually choose, we're gonna go up here to where our star is, we're gonna right click and choose Rectangle tool. Now when we hover over top of this circle on the left and we see where it comes to anchor, see how it says anchor? We're gonna actually click and drag till we get to this shape where it says anchor. You have to go slow and watch it. Where are you? Where are you? I know you. There we go. I know you're there. Okay, now that you've reached it, go ahead and release. We now have this rectangle shape over top of our two circles. And we're going to adjust it from here. We're going to go ahead and click on the shaper tool again. And we're going to click in a blank area of the artboard. We want to deselect everything that we have. And we're going to move the pointer to the left of the shape. And this is where it starts to get really cool. You can scribble on top and it'll start to delete areas with the shaper tool. So we're going to scribble right across where we're going to stop just after the left edge of the rectangle. So we're going to draw it over here. So you ready? I'm on the shaper tool. I'm going to scribble boop, 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 boop. Right there, and bam, it adjusted it to look like that. Isn't that fun? That's really cool. We're not done yet. We still have to adjust a couple more things and change the color and then make it look the way we want it to look. We're going to take over here and we're going to actually scribble from this into here. Sorry, I'm going to shaper tool and select it. I'm going to select outside again, then come over here and we're going to scribble into this to combine those two together. And we now have the look that we want for our sail. We still need to adjust it a little bit, but we're getting closer. Okay, so now that we have it combined, we're going to make sure you're still on the shaper tool. If you drag this over, it shows you the original shapes. This is our new combined shapes. Let's just click here onto this new combined shape. I clicked in this area, and you can see this symbol right here. This symbol is called a shaper group, and it allows us to see that these objects have been grouped together. We're going to click the arrow widget, and what we're going to do is select the underlying shapes, and it'll allow us to adjust this. So we're going to click on the stroke on the left-hand circle, and we're just going to bring it in a little bit more, and we're going to just edit it just a little bit more so that we have more of a curve into our sail. So that's one of the neat things about the shaper tool, is that even though you've gotten rid of this shape and combined these shapes, when you click that arrow widget, it allows you to be in construction mode and to adjust each of these. Hit escape to get out of it so that you're no longer in it, and we're going to adjust this color. So we're going to click on the fill button, And we want it to be 0, 0, 0, and we want 5 at the bottom for K. Perfect. So that's given us a light color, and then we want to get rid of the stroke altogether. So if we can either select it here and do no stroke, or you could adjust it on this side underneath the properties panel. Let me get that out of the way. You could just click 0 for the stroke on there too. I didn't have it selected when I did that, so it didn't get rid of it. So I just need to make sure it's selected and then get rid of it. All right, now that that's done, let's zoom out, Control minus, or you could also go to View and you could do Zoom out. And what we're gonna do, I'm using the space bar to grab my hand to be able to move over. I now have my sail for the top of my sailboat, and I'm just actually gonna move these, I'm just gonna go all the way over here. I don't know what that is. That's extra. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to move this over here, and I want my sail to come down, and I want to be able to see a little of my, what's it called, the mast at the top. So I'm actually going to make my sail a little bit smaller. I'm going to hold down the Shift key so nothing distorts. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And there we go. I want it to look just about like that. That's pretty cute. All right, and then I want to group them all together. So I'm going to select like this, and then I'm going to click Group. Or you could do Control G or Object Group. All right, now that they're grouped, we now have our sailboat done, we have the bones done, we have the X marks the spot, we have the diamond, and we have one mountain shape completed. That is a good place for us to stop. And then we'll pick it back up next time. We're going to use Image Trace, which you guys will love, and we're going to work with drawing inside mode and some other things to finish our map. We're almost done.